I'm finally in the 2023 Toyota Supra 3.0 Premium. Well, we have the stick shift here. It's a beauty to behold. Let's double pop the hood and get under so we can take a quick look at this mostly covered beauty. The 3-liter B58 engine, ported over from BMW, is a peach. 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque. When this vehicle came out in late 2019, a lot of Toyota fans, a lot of Supra fans wanted a manual transmission in this vehicle. Toyota has finally given it to us in the 2023 model, and I'm here to report it is a dandy. And make sure to check out my review on the Supra 2.0. I found that not only to have plenty of power for the streets, but also to have up to 40 miles per gallon on your daily commute. I'd love for Toyota to put a manual transmission on that 2.0 as well to give the buyers more choice, but hey, I shouldn't be complaining here because we finally have the Supra in the manual transmission. Nothing a whole lot different other than this stratosphere blue color. Also, we have these 19-inch wheels that are new for 2023. They are forged aluminum. I like them by heaps and bounds over the outgoing premium, or should I say the Supra 3.0 wheels. The 2.0 gets smaller 18-inch wheels, and we also, since this is a premium, we have the red painted calipers on here, which look great in contrast with this stratosphere blue. Nothing new on the back either. Of course, that beautiful dual exhaust, the Gazoo Racing badge there, the GR badge, the old school Supra logo as well. Popping the rear hatch here, I think it's a pretty decent amount of cargo space. No, you're not going to find a spare tire under here. There is a battery, and this has the standard JBL for 2023 on the premium model, which it's not the best sounding system, but at least they include it in the 3.0 premium nowadays. So let's go over the interior first. Pretty basic attire in here, very BMW-esque. This always jumps out at me. The first thing when I get in this Supra or the new Supras is all the preset buttons here. And look, they match up on the top to remind you what your preset was so you don't accidentally touch the wrong preset. Climate control works great in here, very simple. Heated seats are now standard, I believe on the 3.0 model. We have a wireless charger in here. Unfortunately, no Android Auto. That's not good news for me as an Android user. I love the carbon fiber around the shift area. I haven't once used the rotary dial in here, but it is, I guess, close to the shifter, so I guess that's an added benefit. The shifter is excellent. Not only does it feel great, it's a little on the small end if you want to compare it to like the Nissan Z, for example. That has a more girthy shift knob. It's very short throws, I think, at least in my experience, and it's super smooth going into every single gear. Touchscreen up here, like I said, unfortunately no Android Auto, but you do have Apple CarPlay in here. Pretty basic materials. We have soft touch on the dash. We also have a head-up display on the 3.0 Premium. Now, getting into reverse is a little bit different compared to most Japanese manual transmissions. You have to throw it hard to the left, and that'll put you in reverse, and then you can back out from here. Like most BMWs, I'm not saying this is a BMW, but it shares a lot of the technology. We have a super high resolution backup screen here, and we also have plenty of parking systems around or sensors around the vehicle so you don't dent or ding your Supra on anything. Put it into sport mode with that button right there. Let's go ahead and rev drop it to about 2,000 RPM, making sure traction control is still on. Oh my goodness. And it gets to 60 very quick. They're under 5 seconds. Not the greatest road conditions. If I rev dropped it a little bit higher, we could probably get closer to maybe 4.5 on the perfect road surface. I'm perfectly happy with that sort of performance. And a manual transmission, to me, it's not necessarily all about straight line speed. I mean, in any car, it's not necessarily about straight line speed. We know the Supra has tons of it in the 8-speed auto, and you have tons of it here. It's just more satisfying here because you have more control over what the car is doing. So just the rev matching downshifts are just pure bliss as well. It goes so easy into the gear below. There's third gear, and then we'll put it into second gear and just hammer. Good God. It's just Oh, and then you get some backfire as well. You know, I actually feel like I heard more backfire playing around with the 2.0 Supra. Maybe it's because it's just easier to play with the paddle shifters and whatnot compared to the manual. Oh, it just has so much power. It digs out of every single gear, pretty much at every speed. They shorten the final drive ratio here compared to the 8-speed auto, and oh my gosh, it's just so quick. 0 to 60, best case scenario with a professional on a closed course, probably going to be in the low 4s. Toyota says 4.2, but like I said, I'm happy with cracking 5 seconds there on just a normal street with normal driving conditions. It is 76 degrees out. I guess that's favorable for traction. And maybe I'll do one more 0 to 60 for you guys. Zero to 60 in 4.85, so that was about a tenth better than last time. This stretch right here is really good for traction. I've gotten some of my best 0 to 60s on this particular strip of pavement. But the car, like, you get to 60 and the car's just like, hey, we're just getting started. I have several more gears for you to row through. I don't have a lot of windies here in Florida. And this car would be a lot of fun on track. Probably more fun, but not quite as fast as the 8-speed. There's the 5th, 4th, just so accurate, hammer down. And I wish I had a closed course to ring this thing out. Like, it was fun on the 8-speed auto Supra, but there's something about the 6-speed manual that once it's begging you to dig deep into your reserves of confidence and recklessness at the same time for you to go fast and much faster than you should be. Just digging out of 6, my gosh. Rev matching downshift is great, but with all this torque and power, even in 6th gear, it is super easy and planted on the highway. My goodness, the new Supra Manual, when you're going 80, 85, it feels like you're going 35. It is kind of loud in here, but I do feel like I'm in a very connected space. I can hear what the tires are doing. Surprisingly, I don't have that much road wind noise around me, and most of the road noise seems to be coming from the rear tires. And you know, now that I'm thinking that this is a hatchback, of course you're going to have a little bit more cabin noise because of that, but my goodness. Yes, I could stiffen it up a little bit more by putting it into sport mode. The adaptive dampers will stiffen up for me, but really enjoy just cruising out here in normal mode. I feel like I'm gonna get into the fast lane here and just pedal down, and like it just eats up any sort of speed just keeping it in 6th gear. Driving the Z manual on the freeway, I don't feel like it was that easy to just put the pedal down and gain effortless speed in 6th gear. Now, I was driving that at altitude, and that is a game changer. Pedal down, full throttle. Jeez Louise. Not even in 5th gear. And getting off the freeway, just another example, or just another opportunity for me to use the rev matching downshifts here, which are just so smooth. I feel like they're much more smooth than the Nissan Z that I drove this past summer. The downshifts are just butter. Almost, I would say, gosh, they might even be more smooth than like the Honda Civic SI's auto rev matching downshifts. Starting off in 1st gear is so easy in this vehicle. It's even easier, I know I just mentioned the Honda Civic SI. it's easier to start off in first gear than that vehicle, and even the Nissan Z. I found the Nissan Z to be pretty like non-forgiving starting off in first gear. And maybe it was just the prototypes I was driving because it was pre-production, but this thing is just one of the easiest manual transmissions to drive, up there with like the MX-5 Miata, but this has double the horsepower. Well, let's get around this truck. Just digging it out of sixth gear in like 50 miles an hour, just gobble speed. The only difficulty I'm having with the smoothness of the shifter would be between first and second, just in everyday traffic. Getting into second, sometimes it's a bit jerky, but I haven't driven this vehicle a whole lot, and I know and there have been instances where I've been able to smooth it out just perfectly. So it just comes down to a little bit more experience with this setup. But overall, one of the smoothest and more enjoyable manual transmissions to drive. It does have a little bit of rev hang, but it isn't jarring like it is in like the Honda Civic Si, for example. It feels, it doesn't feel out of place. Now with any Supra, the visibility is a thing here. The blind spots over your right shoulder are notoriously bad. Luckily, I have blind spot monitor on this model. This, I don't believe it's standard. I think it comes in a safety package on top of this premium model. So I would say that's an absolute must, just because you cannot see around the vehicle due to its limited, like, rocket ship focused straight ahead visibility. After driving the new Nissan Z, there are a lot of things about the Z that I do like. I prefer the looks of the Z over this vehicle. It has way more nostalgia and just cleanliness to it. This Supra design's very busy. I don't think it looks bad. It's just not as classy as the new Z. The new Z has a better interior. I'm not saying better materials or better fit and finish. I mean, this is a BMW essentially we're talking about. I'm talking about the overall technology in it. I prefer the fully digital gauge on the Z. Not a big fan of BMW's software here. I like Nissan software. It's one of the best on the market in my opinion. I just love how it's so easy to integrate with Sirius XM, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and the rotary dials for climate control I prefer on the Z as well. The engine is slightly better here. They're both super smooth. The shifter is way better on this car. I feel like it's a lot easier to live with on a daily basis than the Nissan Z. Nissan Z also has a huge advantage, and that's in terms of pricing. 51K out the door for about the same performance, at least on paper, compared to this vehicle. The Monroney sticker on this vehicle says it's around 57K, but when I built it online, it was up to 61K for this vehicle. The Z, if you can find one, is a better deal. But here's the thing. I mentioned if you can find one. It is almost impossible to find a Z. Nissan sold less than 300 in its first year of sales. Supra sold over, well, nearly 5,000 in sales in 2022. And so the availability of the Supra is night and day versus the Z. And it's unfortunate because there really isn't any competition or direct competition to this car because the Z is just not available. It's just so easy to drive at low speeds, so smooth. So easy to get into the next gear, and with more experience driving this car, just gets smoother and smoother, as any manual transmission. But something special about the shifter, the 6-speed, this inline 6-cylinder engine that is just a sewing machine quality. It feels almost like it's a Honda engine with its overall smoothness and just its buttery nature. It is so satisfying. Even at, like, I can't believe, like, the Supra is just as fun to drive at low speeds. Definitely not terrifying. Like when you go full throttle in first and second gear in this car, like, it's just, it's way too scary for me. And, you know, like, the 8-speed automatic was pretty scary at full throttle at low speeds as well, because the systems are fighting to keep this vehicle on the road. little bit of revving in second gear, well, between first and second. That's the hardest gears to comb out with the smoothness. But if you're just a little bit patient, it's super smooth. Better late than never with the manual Supra. And if it took 3 years to further refine and perfect, I get it now. It is pretty much perfect. This is the perfect Supra for me, or at least the ultimate version of the Supra currently on the market. I would take this over any other model. Like I said, if there's a manual for the 2.0 Supra, that would be very tempting as well. And yes, you can get in the manual transmission on the non-premium model, which is going to save you a little bit of money, cut closer to maybe the low 50s. But even around 60K, I still feel like this vehicle offers so much performance, refinement, and satisfaction that's worth every single penny. But I probably sound like an infomercial for Toyota at this point. So I got to cut myself off. Thank you guys for watching. Toyota, thank you for sending me this vehicle. It has actually exceeded my expectations. And I'm very, very happy that I'm driving this vehicle on my birthday. Yes, today's my birthday, and what better present than a manual Supra. I'm gonna end it right there. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed my quick driving impressions and review of the 3.0 Supra manual, and make sure to subscribe for more Toyota news updates along the way. Have a great day.